You're listening to the Focused and Fearless podcast. I'm your host, Heather Angel, and I've been helping people tune into what lights them up and increase their personal and professional performance for over a decade. Now I'm best known as a high-performance coach helping entrepreneurs like you cut through the noise and create a business and life on your terms. If you're ready to step out of struggle and discover how simple it can be to create a fulfilling, joyful, and successful business without all the overwhelm and long hours, you're in the right place.
Morning, my lovely. Welcome to a new episode. Now, I'm going to be totally honest. I've recorded this part of the episode probably about 6 times now because this episode is all about health habits for high performance. And for some reason, the nutrition part, I keep going on a complete tangent because I think it's really, really important. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you 3 key areas, 3 key health habits, if you like, that I live by to make sure that I can keep my performance level, my energy level at the very peak. Okay. Now, what I'm also going to say is that you don't have to follow this. All right. I am purely sharing what is working really well for me at the moment because a lot of my clients have been asking me about it. They work with me through Focused and Fearless or as private clients, and they see what my life is. I'm home educating 2 kids. I'm a single mum, got a business, run the podcast. The business is growing, all these different things. And like, how are you doing that and not burning out, not getting ill? How do you find the time? How do you find the energy? And the energy question is the most important, which is why I'm recording this episode for you now, especially as we start going into the colder months. So important, my lovely, to look after yourself and look after your health. So without further ado, let's dive into nutrition. And I am hoping that I don't have to re-record this again. So let's dive into the basics of nutrition, which is tip number 1. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to let you know about some supplements. Okay. And again, I am not telling you what to do. You do not have to buy these supplements. You don't have to take them. I'm just sharing with you what is really, really working for me at the moment. The first one is something called Athletic Greens. I came across this through another podcast, which is the Feel Better, Live More podcast by Rangan Chatterjee. It's really, really good, and he is sponsored by this company. So I have tried Athletic Greens, and I've been using it now for about 3 or 4 months, maybe 4 months. I wouldn't be without it. My energy levels are so much better. It's really, really fantastic supplement. I really rate it. I think it's very, very, very good. So that is the first supplement that I take. I also take turmeric. This is purely for inflammation. I have glaucoma, and sometimes when that's bad, they often say, right, the inflammation levels are too high. And I also was noticing I was getting like really sore joints, and I had no idea why. So I've started taking turmeric just to see if it worked, and it has. I've got to be honest, I'm really, really surprised because I cook with a lot of turmeric already. So I was like, well, I don't know if this is really going to make a difference. But glaucoma, touch wood, and again, if you have glaucoma, for the love of God, just follow what your doctor's saying. But I'm just saying that this seems to be helping me manage my eye pressure, manage the sort of inflammation that seems to be causing me some problems at the moment. And it's definitely reduced the joint pain. So win-win. So that seems to be working quite well. The other one is B12, and the other vitamin is D3. So vitamin D, right at the moment, it does seem, according to some studies, and I'm not just talking about, the woo-woo pretend studies, I am talking about the actual scientific studies out there. With COVID, apparently vitamin D is something that even the medical professionals that are now saying you should have vitamin D. Here in the UK, we've been advised to be having vitamin D supplements during the winter anyway, because we're not getting that much daylight. So it's really, really important. So I don't know if I'm getting any benefit from that. I don't feel any different, but it seems to be one that is highly advisable for us to be taking right now. So those are the additional supplements I take. Now, I started with that first because I know human nature. We want a quick fix. So if you really can't be bothered to do any other stuff that I share in here, go and get yourself some supplements. I've always been a bit of a believer in supplements. My kids always have vitamins through the winter months just to make sure that their immune system is staying on top form. And some people disagree with that, and that's fine. I have no issue with that. But supplements are a real simple way. The Athletic Greens is amazing if you wanted to start with something that gives you so much, so many minerals and nutrients that you need. So it's worth having a look at. And just as a side note, the reason I think supplements are so important now is because unfortunately we've been destroying our planet for decades upon decades. And the quality of the soil that our food is growing in has deteriorated dramatically. So usually our food would be full of minerals and nutrients that it's got from the soil, but the soil doesn't have those nutrients in it already. So our food is actually not as dense with these nutrients as it used to be. So I think, unfortunately, right now, supplements are a really important thing for us to consider in our diet. So that's one of the easiest things. Even if you just stop now, just go and get yourself some supplements, and hopefully they will start making a difference for you. But also, speak to a medical professional, speak to a nutritional therapist. If you're really struggling with health issues, do go and get yourself an appointment with a great nutritional therapist. Do your research, find one that works for you and that you think is going to be ideal for you. But nutrition is so important. So the way I look at nutrition, and this is the part of the podcast, I'm not going to lie, that I have recorded so many times because this could be an episode on its by itself. But the way I look at what I eat is I live consciously with the foods I choose. So what that means is I've actually taken the time to do quite a lot of reading and research about the nutrients and the vitamins and the things that different foods give you, including fats, good fats, bad fats, if there's such a thing, carbs, protein, fiber, what foods are going to provide my body with what nutrients. Now, that's really been fun for me because I just find it really interesting. But if you're thinking, my God, that's really boring, then at least get yourself into the habit of reading the back of packets. Okay, if a food, or something you're picking up has a load of ingredients and things that you don't even recognize, if you can't imagine any of the ingredients listed on the back of a packet of food that you're buying, if it's like some kind of chemical or it has some kind of number or code, that's not food. And so I don't eat it. It's pretty much as simple as that. It's not real food. If you're buying some kind of processed product and the ingredients list looks more like a chemical lab of random experiment ingredients, then that's not food. Okay, also if sugar or salt or oh my God, if there's hydrogenated fat, anything like that, especially if they're coming up in the first few ingredients, you want to be wary of what that is and what you are eating, and make a informed choice. I'm not saying don't eat it. I mean, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't. But I'm not saying you mustn't eat that stuff. I'm just saying be aware. So if you're going to choose something that's highly processed or really high in sugar, or it's not going to be giving you any nutritional value, like a bar of dairy milk or something, other chocolate brands are available, then, if you're going to do that, then be conscious for the rest of the day about, okay, well, what else am I going to eat to make sure I'm getting my nutritional balance? It's not about being negative or saying, oh, I shouldn't have had that chocolate bar. Have it. And if it brings you joy, savor every moment of that chocolate bar. Love it. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. But just be aware. You're like, okay, so I had that today. So you won't then go out and buy a Mars bar or, then go and have maybe, McDonald's or something, because you're like, okay, no, I had that and it was great and I enjoyed it. But I'm going to make a different choice for my next meal or my next snack to make sure that my body is still getting everything it needs today. So that's how my brain works when I look at the food I'm eating, the food choices I'm making. And I also try and eat intuitively. Now, this is the part that is hard to explain on a podcast, but the way I mean by that is I think about what my body actually needs. So I think about the food that I want, and this is really important. If you have cravings for food, if you have like a craving for a chocolate bar or crisps or something like that, then think about, well, what actually is it that you're craving? Is it that you're really tired and you're looking for an energy hit and that's why you're wanting something sweet? Is it that actually you're genuinely really hungry because you haven't had a very big lunch or you skipped breakfast or something? You're like, oh my goodness, actually I'm really hungry. So it's not that you want a packet of crisps, it's just your body's going, for the love of God, give me some fat, give me some salt, give me some sugar, give me something, I'm hungry. And your brain goes, okay, a packet of crisps will work. So really just take, and it doesn't take long, I'm talking like a few seconds to go, actually, what do I need? And those energy slumps in the afternoon, if you're one of these people that gets to 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're having a bit of an energy slump, and that's when you normally go for the biscuits and coffee and stuff, is it that you need that, or do you need to go and stretch your legs and go for a walk? Do you need some fresh air? Do you need a glass of water? If after you've done that and you've moved around a little bit, then say to yourself, right, do I still want that coffee? Do I still want that biscuit or something? If you do, then make that choice. But that is how I look at my nutrition, so that I can hopefully give my body what it needs rather than falling into different habits. Now, habit is a big factor here, okay? We all get into different habits about what we eat and when we eat it. We've been brought up with, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That was thought up by Kellogg's, okay? It's not a fact. It's just something that was made up by a cereal company. So actually, if you don't eat breakfast the minute you wake up, that's okay. And breakfast doesn't have to be a bowl of processed cereal and some cow's milk, okay? Like, that's just the nonsense that we were brought up with. So think about the food that you want to eat and think about when you want to eat as well. So that's what I do. That's how I look at the food I eat and how I plan on what I eat as well. So that, I think, is the simplest way I can explain what I do for nutrition, and it really helps me stay on track, and it helps me keep my health and fitness at a top level, because I'm not allowing myself to fall into bad habits of eating highly processed food, of having lots of takeaways, of eating the biscuits, of drinking loads of coffee, of having loads of alcohol. And alcohol is another great one to talk about, and drinks as well. There are never, ever fizzy drinks in my house. I think they're disgusting anyway. I don't like them. But, my kids never have anything. They literally drink water. That's it. Unless we go out and it's a special treat, they might have like a fruit shoot or something, which are awful. But, they don't have anything other than water at home. But I've also stopped buying alcohol to have in the house. Like, I don't have wine in the house. I usually have a bottle of gin, actually, to be fair, and then it's a conscious decision whether I will go out and buy tonic to have a gin and tonic. So again, it's about that conscious choice rather than it being a habit, because when I had wine in the house, it would get to an evening, usually by about Wednesday, and I'd be like, oh, I'll just have a glass of wine. And obviously, living on my own, I'd be like, well, I'll have another glass of wine. And then throughout that week, I would have personally drunk a whole bottle of wine. And I didn't want to do that. That was habit. It wasn't a conscious choice. It was habit. So if you know that habit is actually one of the key things with you with nutrition, that you want to make changes, but you're in these kind of like ruts of habit, go into the show notes or over to my Instagram bio, and there is something called the Goal Achievement Bundle, which is my free course. It's completely free. There's no cost or anything. And in there is an entire habit transformation module. So you can actually go through that, and I talk through how you can start switching your way of thinking so that you can switch up your habits. So there's these little things you can do. I think if you have, and I'm going to put this in inverted commas, bad foods or drinks and things in your house that you don't really want to be having, if they're in your house, the temptation is there. You're going to eat it. You're going to drink it. It's the same if you're a smoker. It's that crazy thing of like, oh, I'll quit once I've finished this packet of cigarettes. It's like, oh, well, I'll eat better once I've eaten all the crap that I've got in the fridge. Oh, well, I'll stop drinking once I've gone through this case of wine. So, and again, I'm not saying eliminate all these beautiful, wonderful things out of your life. I love wine. I love a good G&T. I love chocolate. There's all these beautiful things in life. I love bread. Oh my God, bread. All these things are beautiful and amazing and delicious, and I have no intention of taking them out of my life, but they are not part of my everyday, because I think consciously and intuitively about my nutrition. So that is my tip for you when it comes to nutrition. So second is movement. So I've put movement instead of exercise because I don't know about you, when I hear exercise, I just think, oh, I can't be bothered. As much as I love it when I'm actually in it, like back in those days when you could go to a really good gym class, I used to love it, genuinely loved it. But the motivation and willpower it would take to get me to that gym class, that was a lot. And it was really hit and miss as to whether it would actually happen. And I would talk myself out of it, especially when it was going to be an early morning one. My brain would be like, oh, here's 10 different reasons why you shouldn't go to this class. Here's 10 different reasons why you shouldn't even bother trying to get into your gym gear. Don't do it. Just, it's fine. You'll do it later. And of course, we never get around to doing the exercise later if we don't get it done straight away. So I decided not to call this exercise. I decided to call it movement because I have completely switched the way I look at how I train my body and look after my physical body and my, health from a cardio point of view and from a fitness point of view. And it's because we don't need to, we have like really backwards ideas. And I think if you're listening to this and you're a high performer, we're a kind of all or nothing kind of person, right? We go all in on everything. We go all in on our businesses. We go all in on our friendships, all in on high performance. We're kind of all or nothing. So if you say you're going to do exercise, if you don't do it to that high level or you don't do it to the version that you think you should do it, you're then quite hard on yourself and you think, oh, I haven't done it. Oh, what's the point? Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow never comes, right? So movement is the most important. And so what I do now is every morning when I get up, I do something. Okay. And sometimes it's just a little bit of yoga. Sometimes I'll go on my exercise bike. Other times, especially in the summer, if I can, I will go out for a run in the morning. I will do something. And other times, if I'm really, really tired, I will just do 10 minutes of just stretching. And sometimes I haven't even got my eyes properly open. Like I am human and so are you. We are going to have our days when we wake up and go, holy moly, I'm not really in the mood to even get out of bed, let alone go and do some exercise. But if you're going to be a high performer, you have got to learn to overcome your brain sometimes. And I'm going to talk about rest in a minute. This isn't about, getting yourself to burnout, but when you say you're going to get up, you get up and you go and do something. Okay. When we can all go swimming again, maybe go for a swim, go for a walk, just do some Tai Chi, do some yoga, just do some stretching, run on the spot, do some push-ups, whatever it is you want to do. I think movement in the morning is absolutely key if you want to be a high performer, especially in your business, because you need to clear away that fog and go into your business with energy and a clear mind. So movement is more important than, in inverted commas, exercise. And here's the thing, you could go for a walk. Get outside, go for a walk at lunchtime or, sometime in the evening, go for a walk and get some fresh air. If you walk fast, like imagine you were running late for something. If you just walked fast for maybe half an hour, 3 times a week, that is still going to do you so much good, especially if you're starting from nothing. It doesn't have to be that you have to go to a class and work your socks off for 45 minutes. It doesn't mean that you have to go and do a really intense class. You can go on YouTube and find 10-minute workouts, 5-minute workouts even, with no equipment necessary. Or if you want, buy yourself some weights. I know they went really expensive during lockdown, but I think they've calmed down a bit now. Get yourself some weights and just do some, simple weight-bearing exercises. Just something to get your body moving, because you've been laying down for 8 hours, maybe more. Your body needs to move. I mean, I'm even kind of stretching as I'm saying this because I'm like, I've been sat at my desk for a little while. You need to move. Our bodies are not designed to just be laying down and stationary and sat at desks. We've got to keep them moving, got to keep them flexible. So movement is really, really important. And so too is rest. And this brings me on to point 3, which I've kind of been a bit cheeky with. It's not really just 3. There's everything bundled into this last point of random extra things that I do to look after my health so that I can be a high performer. So I've bundled them all into point 3. And the first one is rest. Truly restorative rest. And I personally get this through, I have salt baths at least once a week, but usually sort of 2-3 times a week. And all that is just you have a nice bath with some magnesium salts in it, or maybe some Epsom salt, something like that. Throw in a bit of essential oil if you want to. I love putting rose in my bath. I think it's really, really nice. Or some lavender if you want to just completely chill out. So good. And you can actually just properly rest. And like don't, do what you like, but I would recommend you don't really have anything on. You can have maybe some nice calming meditation music or classical music or something if you like, but just allow your brain to have a break. We are on the go all the time. Okay, all the time. We are thinking about our business, our clients, our families, our lives, everything all the time. Our brains get so little break, and we think, oh, well, I'm going to bed, so that's fine, I'm resting. Not really. Okay, yes, sleep is really, really important, but how often do you go to bed and you just literally just pass out because you're so tired, and then you wake up the next morning and you barely feel rested? We need to factor in true restorative rest, and the way I do that is, like I said, I have my salt baths at least once a week minimum, but usually sort of 2 or 3 times a week, but also just meditating. And again, meditating doesn't have to be this complicated thing. Just sitting in the silence for a bit. Okay, and if you're new to that, maybe just commit to doing it for 1 minute. 1 minute every day of just sitting in complete silence, just being aware of your thoughts. Don't try and clear them all, because that's not how our brain works, but just sit and be quiet and allow yourself to breathe and just be with yourself and your thoughts just for a moment. Okay, that's how I really make sure I rest and recharge. Other random things that I do is I have blue light glasses. So these I used to only wear if I was doing nighttime client calls, but actually I wear them a lot more now, pretty much whenever I'm on my computer. And you can go on Amazon or have a look online. They're blue light blocking glasses. So they reduce the amount of blue light that goes into your system, basically. So it helps you wind down. So especially if you are working at night, or even if you're just watching telly before you go to bed, which again, not ideal, but if that's how you wind down, that's fine. It reduces the amount of blue light, because we're like flooded with artificial light all the time. So our bodies don't really know what's going on, whether it's night or day. So by reducing the amount of blue light that you're absorbing, it really helps you to wind down and not be so wired, especially before you go to bed. So that's something I do. Also, you're probably not going to like this one, cold showers. I have been taking cold showers since 2015. The end of 2015, I started taking cold showers after my regular shower. So it's anywhere between 10 seconds to maybe a couple of minutes, depending on how brave I'm feeling. But these are so good for you. Give it a Google, because I want to keep this episode fairly short, and we're already at 20 minutes. So give it a Google, the power of cold water. Like, I think there's cold water therapy out there as well. But a simple thing you can do is have a cold shower. So good for you. It's not pleasant, I'm not even going to lie. When you first start this out, you might only want to be able to do it for a couple of seconds until you sort of build up a resilience to it. But it actually really, really helps your immune system. So cold showers is definitely something I do. And yes, they're worse in the winter because the water's freezing, but it's really, really good for you. So cold showers I do. And then the last one, which is a far more fun thing to do, is music. Okay, I love dance music. I will prance around my kitchen like no one's watching, because no one is. Very, very often. And music, if you're in a bit of a slump, or you're tired, or if you've got to the end of the day and you're just like, oh, I've still got these things to do, or, for me, it's always like, oh, right, I've done all this, got the kids to bed, it's 8:30. Oh man, now I've got to wash up. I've got to wash up, or clean the kitchen, or tidy up, or prep food for tomorrow, or whatever it is. The best way to get me out of that, oh my gosh, can't be bothered, is whack on some music. Get some music playing, whatever your favourite kind of music is, and just dance around the kitchen to it. Dance around your office. If you're in a bit of a slump, if you've had a bad client call, or you've, had an argument with someone, take yourself away, go for a walk and put your headphones on and get some good music going on. Whatever it works for you. I just think music is so powerful to lift your mood. It works so, so well. And dancing in the same way. It's moving your body again. if you love to just listen to music all the time, or if you are really missing, since all this lockdown, going out and dancing with your friends and just being in, that sort of social fun environment, yes, I really miss that, then, put that dance music on. Put that music on which reminds you of being out with your friends, of having that social connection, and just move your body. And that could be your movement or exercise for the day. Okay, it doesn't have to be anything boring. It can be something you really enjoy. But music has the power to lift your mood, I think, like nothing else. So that is the last little tip. So health habits and sort of habits as a whole to help you be your very best. So I hope that was helpful. There's probably there are so many other things that I could have gone into, but if those help you, please choose one. Okay, what I would love you to do, take away from this episode, is to choose one thing that you can do from the things I've discussed today to move you forward, to elevate your health habits. And remember, if breaking habits, and if you've got some bad habits, some self-destructive habits going on, then go to the link in the show notes or head over to my Instagram bio. Get yourself the free mini course, which is a goal achievement bundle. Within that is an entire mini course on habit transformation. So it's going to give you some really simple tips and ideas on how you can change your habits. All right, my gorgeous ones. So I hope that helped, and I will see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Focused and Fearless podcast. If you'd like to continue the conversation or have a question that you would like answered in an upcoming episode, head over to Instagram and connect with me at Heather Angel Coaching. If you enjoy this podcast, please share your thoughts in a review on iTunes. I truly value your feedback, and I take the time to read every single review. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you in the next episode.